So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Patriots, gay triots, they triots, black triots, brown triots, and those who don't support them can fuck off. See, I think that's the bridge we needed.
That is the bridge. Right when you said it, I thought, where's that been our whole lives?
You know what? We're slow, but when we get there, we nail it.
I mean, we're pedal to the metal.
All right, Pumps, what have you had it with?
Okay, what I've had it with, and I mean, I have had it. I am so sick and tired of anybody or any news coverage or network or any entity that acts like Robert Kennedy Jr. has any idea what's going on with medicine or science. Like, you are automatically disqualified from not being a complete fucking dumbass if you're sitting around and acting like this lawyer who is a lawyer. I am a lawyer. Do not take medical advice from me. Do not take scientific advice from me. Here's the thing. I don't care if you disagree with someone, but let an expert tell you. Do not have your lawyer do your heart transplant. Do not have your lawyer do your cataract surgery. This is crazy town that everybody's acting like that because Bozo the Clown, Donald Trump, appointed Bozo the Clown to the HHS, that now he's some big science or medical expert. He is not. He has zero expertise in science. And I mean, it's like waking up in Dumbsville every day when people act like, oh, well, you know, RFK said, I'm like, RFK's a fucking lawyer. Enough.
It's insane. And there's this trend before RFK that set this soil for him to be able to ascend to where he is. And what it is you have a bunch of morons at home on Facebook, and facts have a liberal bias, and that's a problem for a conservative. So they started conducting their own research from their homes and producing their research results, presenting it on Facebook. And it started catching on like wildfire. Growing up in suburban Oklahoma City, and then you get on Facebook and you all of a sudden are reunited with the morons you graduated from high school with. And I mean, I'll never forget it. There's this guy, and he's trying to convince his followers that carbon dating is bullshit. And that the age of the earth is 5,000 to 6,000 years old. This guy I went to high school with, right? And he would always post stuff like, science has their research and I've got mine. And then he'd produce it, and it's the biggest false equivalency on the planet. But the internet has empowered people to have more access to knowledge at a quicker speed, but it's also enabled them to get a hold of junk, disproven science, and they're able to go confirm the bias that they want to confirm rather quickly. And the situation with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is like, this guy, before you even get to all the crazy shit he says about vaccines, we have like a staged bear homicide.
Yes.
A worm in his brain. He says that he was a terrible student until he took up heroin. He says this. These are his words. And it's devastating because I remember going to the cemetery with my parents when like one of my grandparents had died. And my mother and I wandered over, and we were at like the kids' cemetery. And there were all these kids. And I was like, God, they didn't live long. Why are there so many? And my mother said in her Dallas accent, well, darling, this was before vaccines. And that always stuck with me. And I was probably in high school that, modern medicine, a lot of children aren't dying anymore because of the advancements of modern medication. So you have a lot of people on earth right now where our grandparents remember they had siblings that died.
Right.
Of what now are preventable illnesses. And we have an administration that is actively saying they're pro-life, which is bullshit, while at the same time firing experts. And we're talking about people that have never made a B in their lives. Like the people who literally are married to books and science. And those are the people I want in charge of me.
Absolutely.
I don't want the heroin addict that staged a bear homicide in charge of vaccination stuff. And the anti-vax situation is so bad, you guys, that I have some friends that are physicians. And practicing medicine in the MAGA world is very difficult for these people. And some of these doctors, at some point, because they don't like paying their taxes, voted for Trump. And now they have a patient list that comes in and thinks they know more than the physician that spent all these years in school. And I say, you got exactly what you voted for. You're voting for dumb. You're getting dumb. Good luck trying to vaccinate or treat these people. But I always remember during COVID, and they're trying to revise COVID right now. There's a lot of COVID revisionism going on right now. I remember coming home and you would see tens of thousands of people daily dead. And a lot of these people, because of Trump, didn't get vaccinated. They fucked around and then they found out, and then they're in the ER because they listened to Trump 1.0, injecting bleach, ivermectin, my pillow guy, all this just unhinged bullshit. And then they get to ICU and they're begging for the vaccine. Begging. Well, wait, one more thing. I think that RFK Jr. should treat Trump's cankles.
Agree.
Bruised hands, dementia, congestive heart failure. I think if you're going all chips in on this guy, you let him treat you.
I 100% agree. And I think that anybody that's running around saying, oh, well, I'm doing this because RFK said, then you should go to the RFK hospital where he has privileges to treat people, and other people that don't believe in science but believe in conspiracy theories. When you have a heart attack or you have a stroke, let them treat you because that's who you like. That's who you think is smart. Go to your internet site doctor on Facebook with no experience and expertise. Get your lawyer out of the law book to come and do your surgery. And it's infuriating because I see all of the science and the research being shut down under this administration. I see like the very best scientists have to go to other countries. And this isn't just a Trump thing. This is going to be generational because now we have states like Florida, which is unbelievably going to stop requiring vaccines for kids.
Well, and what's interesting about that case in particular is the Surgeon General, I believe, of the state of Florida is a Black man who likened vaccinations to slavery, which is just so insulting on so many fronts.
Bad.
That's so insulting to the history that happened with enslaved people. It's insulting to science. It shocks the conscience that somebody could stand there and say that with a straight face. And so this is going from bad to worse at all times. And all of these MAGA people out there, when push comes to shove, if you had to go to the RFK Jr. hospital with all your Facebook friends that conduct their own research, or you got to go to a real medical doctor with equipment and peer-reviewed cases and results, and, we found out this was wrong, so we changed the way we treated it to this and this and this and this. Science is not about being right. It's about always finding what's wrong in what they're doing and improvement. Science doesn't have the ego that these MAGA people have. Generations of scientists pass their findings on to the next generation in hopes that those findings are improved upon, even proven wrong, even bettered. And that sort of open-mindedness doesn't behoove Black and white thinkers that are very closed-minded. And so, I guess you're going to get the treatment that you voted for. Oh, let me tell you what I've had it with. I've had it with people whose entire identity is the Trump assassination attempt. It's true. Okay, so I'm on social media, right, Pumps? And somebody sends me this real mean message, right?
No.
I'm like, okay, whatever. So I click on the bio, and the profile picture is the fight photo. That's their profile picture. And then in the feed, they posted various versions of it with different filters. Like, here's the black and white version. Here's sepia, all the different filters. Here's the Paris filter, the Nashville filter, and then it goes along with, pictures of eagles and grenades and other stuff. And then like there's a guy here in Oklahoma City, you and I drove by it the other day, who owns a barbecue shop. And he has this whole display of the Trump assassination photo with then Bible verses attached to it. And I think how sad, like for some people, their whole identity is that moment.
Well, yeah. And
like it's your bio, like it's your avatar.
It makes me think that they think that he was spared because he is the Holy Savior, Jesus Christ 2.0.
You know what it makes me think?
I mean, dumb as fuck, obviously.
There's not a God.
100%. They're 100%. But I think it's the super religious people that get the rocks off of it.
Well, because
our barbecue owner.
Go ahead.
Dramatic reading or dramatic reenactment at the city council.
Yeah, the barbecue owner went to a city council meeting. This was during COVID. And he was just going bananas when everybody was going bananas about masks and all this stuff, right? And it's on video.
It's on video.
And he is going crazy, and he's referencing like Scott Atlas, and he was like that MAGA-y doctor during Trump 1.0. And he's like making all these points, and then he just says randomly, and I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
And he was serious. It was not a joke. And when I say that Jennifer set it up perfectly. It wasn't like there was no preamble. It was like, you have a blue shirt. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That is black. I mean, it was just fucking crazy.
There's a whole sect of American culture that we need to talk about. And it is this, they're these angry Christians, and they believe that they're fighting a war. Every day they wake up and they believe that spiritual warfare is happening, and they are a warrior for Christ. So and this happens massively in the Bible Belt, you guys. There is a percentage of evangelicals that actively think they are in a war with spirits, demonic spirits. And I know, you guys, this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it is 1000% real. And these people think that spiritual warfare is going on at all times, and you have like an angel over here and a demon over here, and then they are fighting this good versus evil. So when Trump speaks in binary terms, like these evil radical leftists and we're the good, and he uses evil, it unlocks this imaginary war that these people are fighting. And for the other person I'm talking about, who has the Trump within a bunch of Bible stuff on it, they believe every day when they wake up that they're warriors for Christ, not even realizing the hypocrisy in those statements. Like the central character of the Bible, Jesus Christ, was not about war, was about peace. And so then they've attached this, I have to be a soldier and a warrior for him. So their whole existence is just breathtaking hypocrisy, but it's unbeknownst to them.
100%. She's telling the truth, because I was raised like that. It wasn't like the angel and the devil, but it was spiritual warfare. You have to go through the spirit, like pick good over evil. Like there was always a fight between good and evil. And the spiritual warfare thing is 100% real. You are a soldier for Christ. That is all true.
Why don't you share with the listener what your family thought I was in that role when they first met me?
Like evil? No, I mean, they never said like she's evil, but you were definitely like on the top of the prayer list.
Yeah.
Bad influence.
I've been
top of the bad influence list.
I've been on top of the prayer list for so long, you guys, that I can tell you with certainty, and I mean multiple prayer lists, that the prayers have actually made me more secular. They've actually made me more atheist. Do with that what you will, all of you Facebook researchers,
doctors, nurses, and Christians.
Do with that what you will, but I have seen the opposite effect of that. All right, welcome to I've Had It. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Angie, the HBIC head beaver in charge.
She's the head beaver in charge of America's Top DEI podcast. Let's check in with the lesbian branch of the podcast. Kylie, how are the lesies doing?
They're good. The lesbian headquarters are holding up.
Good.
I have 2 reviews for you today.
Excellent.
This first one is 5 stars, titled Comfort Food, from Miss Mo, and she writes, some people rewatch sitcoms to relax and wind down at the end of the day. I have been watching the entire backlog of this show. There's nothing that soothes me more than these 2 middle-aged white women and their lesbian sidekick sharing every annoyance about anything that has ever been done by another human. The pettier the better. I eat it up like a giant bucket of popcorn at the movies by the fistful. Please never stop.
That's so nice.
I love that because I am one of those people that seeks rerun comfort. So I totally identify
That's
with that.
really nice.
Thank you, Miss Mo.
Okay, and then this one is from Waiting for Karma, 5 stars, titled Gin and Pump's Torture Our Racist Neighbors. And they write, these 2 loud-mouthed, opinionated, borderline unhinged women open their mouths and suddenly I'm cackling in public like a deranged banshee who's lost all sense of dignity. We love blasting them on the outdoor speakers so our MAGA neighbors can finally take a break from marinating in Fox News and for once get exposed to critical thinking. This is our little form of water torture for these frumpy little inbred losers. Gin and Pumps shred that whole cult of losers with the precision of surgeons and the subtlety of a chainsaw. MAGA folks wouldn't last 5 minutes and would leave it at 1 star. Too many facts, too much honesty, not nearly enough mediocrity and corruption to worship. So yes, I hate them like I hate free champagne at brunch when I wasn't going to drink. They're chaotic, abrasive, relentless, and absolutely perfect.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's a great one.
That's a really great review.
and only borderline.
And it's so true because we are so annoying and so unhinged.
Yeah, just borderline. Then.
Yet we're America's top DEI podcast with a beaver in charge.
With a beaver in charge. Thank you.
Okay,
very
I have
much.
some breaking news.
Oh, I love breaking news.
Last month, we had reported on the serial butt sniffer. And I regret to inform everybody that the serial butt sniffer has been arrested for the 3rd time. Records show he was already on parole and facing earlier charges from July involving inappropriate behavior at a Nordstrom rack. His troubling history with similar incidents dates back to 2021. Authorities booked him, and he is being held without bail. And there was a photograph. This 3rd time was caught on video. So as you can see here now, they've got video evidence and he just can't stop sniffing ass. He cannot stop.
Here's my question. I genuinely am interested in the answer to this. What was it in 2021 that made him all of a sudden be unable to control his butt sniffing of other people? Like, what was the trigger? I just find that interesting. How did we get here?
Yeah, I don't know that would be a pleasant story.
Probably wouldn't, but
but I'm in. I would watch a documentary on it.
I totally would. I just think that's so weird.
All right. Speaking of weird, we have a man in a diaper arrested after yelling goo goo gaga at little girls and asking them to change his diaper. In Tyler, Texas, 45-year-old Wesley Worrell was arrested on July 29th for allegedly approaching 2 young girls near Andy Woods Elementary School while wearing only a diaper and a pacifier. He reportedly shouted, "Goo goo gaga, I need a diaper change," causing the girls to flee in fear. So maybe it could be a 2-part documentary.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I'm curious, and I want y'all to comment if this ever happened to you growing up. And Pumps, you can tell if anything ever happened to you. So I remember 3 incidents as a child where when I was growing up that somebody flashed or did something sexually inappropriate. One time I was with my mother at Grandy's, which was this southern like chicken chain, and my mother and I were there eating. My mother and I were sitting in a booth across from each other, and I was probably 9. And then a man comes and he sits at a booth that's directly in my sight line. And I can see under the table. I can see his crotch area. And he whipped his penis out and started like rubbing it, and it was getting erect. And I was just eating and watching, and I didn't know what to do. I was kind of paralyzed.
Right. Well, yeah.
And then then he got up and left because I was starting to fidget and stuff. And so I told my mother after he had left. And my mother stood up and goes to the front of Grandy's, and she's like, "You had a flasher in here, blah, 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 blah." She came back to me and she's like, You have to tell me that stuff immediately, blah, blah, blah. I was very, very, very young. So then fast forward to junior high, and I'm with the Brink Bobcat cheerleaders, go Bobcats, and we're heading to an away football game in Norman, Oklahoma. And we are on the school bus. So we're driving from Oklahoma City to Norman, Oklahoma. And there is this man in this blue car. And so this would have been the 80s. So the car looked like it was probably from the 70s. It was an older kind of clunker, what you would call a clunker. And he was overweight. And he kept honking and pulling up next to us. And we looked out the bus window, and he was butt naked, eating a Hostess cherry pie and like cramming it into his mouth and then rubbing the cherry pie all over him.
What?
Yes. And then we were all like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. We tell the teacher, and then the bus driver starts to pull over and blah, blah. And then there was one final time, and we were probably juniors in high school. So we're able to leave the school, me and my friend Candy. Candy had a cool car. She had a Mazda Miata. It was a red convertible Mazda Miata. So we went to Godfather's Pizza for lunch, right? And as we pull up, there's a guy and he knows, I guess, all the kids are getting out for lunch. And there was this one strip where we would go to restaurants. Right. And he literally has on a trench coat. And he's just standing there. And he opens up the trench coat, and he reaches down and grabs his penis and just maniacally wanks it. And we were both jaws on the floor. And I was and the convertible was down, and we thought we were hot shit. We were probably playing NXS or something. And I'm like, abort, go. And we leave. But this stuff happens to kids.
Yeah.
The goo goo gaga. I mean, it's really crazy, but those three things happened to me as a kid. I mean, I'm fine and all of that, but it's just crazy that kind of stuff that people prey on children like that.
Well, yes. It's so weird and gross. I never had that until 5 years ago. Nobody ever but I remember it's so shocking. You kind of are stunned. You don't know what to kind of say or do. But the diaper, the only thing about the diaper that at least it was an immediate obvious the girls needed to flee. You know what I mean?
That was the Hostess thing. The guy that was in the car rubbing the cherry pie all over him, his naked. That was an immediate, oh my God, because everybody universally reacted to it.
Right. And in some situations, I feel that are like that, you get in and you're like, are they seeing what I'm seeing? You kind of question yourself because it's so out of the ordinary.
And it's so shocking.
And it's so shocking. It takes a minute to react. So, I mean, because I was stunned into silence. And I was a grown-ass person.
So, listener, tell them what happened. This was a few months before we started the podcast.
Yeah, so 3 years
3.5 years ago.
So this guy, I pull up and he honks at me. We're at a stop sign. I'm on my way to exercise. And I look over and he is whacking himself off, looking at me, sitting in his small, I was higher than him car. So he was in a sedan and I was higher. And I just didn't even know what to do. I mean, I was just as I drove, I mean, of course I just kind of froze and then went on. And then I thought I should have called that motherfucker's bluff. I should have pulled that car over and said, let's fucking go, buddy. Because that's such a
I think you should have gotten his tag number.
Yeah, I should.
And then called the police. I don't think we engaged.
But I didn't even think about that.
Let's not engage with the
let's not call their bluff.
We're not say, hey, let's fuck on the side of the road. I think you're going crazy over there.
Yeah. I could have taken a shit on his car, the diarrhea girl.
Well, this has taken an interesting turn.
The butt sniffer.
Kylie?
I only have one memory of this happening to me, and I was college age, and me and some girlfriends were on the highway heading to Texas. And we look over, and a guy's got his dick out, and he's just looking at us, driving on the highway, and masturbating the whole time. We filmed it. We thought it was hilarious.
You filmed it?
Yeah, I could find that video somewhere if I really tried.
It's okay.
You don't want to see
We'll
it?
take your word for it.
Well, don't send it to Pumps. She'll want to pull him over and say, let's go, big guy.
Pumps, I will tell you the craziest thing is the dick went to the top of the steering wheel. It was large.
What?
Really?
No,
maybe I do want to see the video.
I think you would want to see it.
I kind of want to see it now. That's impressive.
Wait a minute. It went to, are we talking about a donkey?
It was tall. You could
Do you
see
think this is what made you gay?
Probably. There's a long list.
Okay, wait. So he's sitting in the car.
The steering wheel.
He's sitting there and he's kind of reclined. and then you can just see half of it.
Does he have like his butt on a pillow?
I couldn't see that.
That'd be an extremely long penis.
All right. Let's do one more story before we go to our guest. Okay, this is really interesting, you guys. Since 1993, Denmark has required every child aged 6 to 16 to take a weekly empathy class. The result, the world's lowest bullying rates, world's highest kindness scores.
We need this so bad, like Shorty called 911.
You know, we talk about this a lot on our other podcasts, but Kanks, that's what we call Donald Trump for the Kankles. Kanks is the curtains are closing on that. He's a lame duck, or, biology is going to catch up with him. But the moral depravity and the lack of empathy and the streamlining and platforming of cruelty is something that we have to reconcile as a society, because it's going to eat us alive beyond MAGA.
No, I completely agree. And I think that this is so smart and forward thinking. And I think to myself, from my perspective, boots on the ground, field research, it is the evangelical Christian population that lacks the most empathy. And I would think if you went to their church and said, we would like to do this on a rotating basis, I would think they would probably think, well, we don't need that because we already have it. And I'm like, that's where those classes need to start.
They need to start there, but the Christian evangelical base is already starting to redefine empathy.
Right.
Now.
They don't want it anymore.
They're gaslighting and they're saying it's toxic.
Right.
So they realize they have a branding problem with the central character of their religion. And so they're trying to rebrand. If you're empathetic, you're toxic, which is why the best way to manage these churches, because they are businesses, they take Venmo, they grift, they give their customers bad information, bad lifestyle advice. That's why they need to be taxed. That's the best way to start some change there.
I completely agree with that.
Okay, listen. We have a guest that we really love, that I think is on the forefront of where the Democratic Party needs to be. And y'all all know that we have a lot of criticism of the Democratic Party, but not of this representative. And his name is Representative Ro Khanna. Let's welcome him to I've Had It. This ad is brought to you by Vive Healthcare, the makers of Apertude, Cabotegravir.
You never skip your SPF, and you carry hand sanitizer like an accessory, but what are you doing for HIV prevention? One way to help protect yourself from HIV is Apertude, a prescription medicine used to reduce the risk of getting HIV in adults and adolescents weighing at least 77 pounds.
You must be HIV negative to receive Apertude and get tested before each injection. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. More HIV testing may be needed. Apertude does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections. Practice safer sex to reduce your risk. Get Apertude as scheduled. Missing doses increases your HIV risk. Don't take Apertude if allergic to it or taking certain medicines that may interact. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions, liver problems, and mental health. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. The most common side effect is injection site reaction. Bring your A game and talk to your doctor. Learn more at apertude.com or call 1-888-240-0340. This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You choose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called AutoQuote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. This episode is brought to you by IQBAR, our exclusive snack and hydration sponsor. IQBAR is the better-for-you plant protein-based snack made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger without the sugar crash. Listener, I'm telling you guys, we get up here and we film and we film and we film, and then sometimes we forget to eat. And thankfully, we have IQ bars downstairs, and I'm just going to tell you, they are a game changer.
I love the IQ Mix, which is a zero sugar drink mix that hydrates with electrolytes, improves mood, and boosts clarity.
With over 20,000 five-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lives with IQ bars, brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all three. Listener, right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the sampler pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text HADIT to 64,000. Text HADIT to 64,000. That's HADIT to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. It's our favorite.
Oh my gosh. Hi.
Well, thank you for having me back. And thank you for that kind introduction. You know, I'm a big fan.
Well, we appreciate that.
Well, that is mutual. You've been so busy. Oh my God. I mean, things have been rather busy.
It's been a crazy week.
Yeah.
But, you know, I got to tell you, I don't know how many people, if you got to see or others who are your viewers got to see, that the women who are survivors, they were so courageous. They talked about being raped and assaulted at 13, at 14. Having Jeffrey Epstein tell them to go bring other high school students so that he could farm them out. That was absolutely disgusting. And I really don't care what your politics are, whether you're a MAGA supporter, a Democrat, independent, progressive, like how can a country tolerate that? And we owe these survivors closure. And they were very clear that some of them don't have access to the files to be able to understand their own memories. They're talking to therapists who say, well, we need you to get the files to understand what really went on. And I just don't understand how this has become a political issue. We just need to get these files out and do right by these survivors.
Well, I think I understand why it's become a political issue. And that's because Donald Trump is mentioned in them and was very, very, very close friends with Jeffrey Epstein and wishes Ghislaine Maxwell well. And on Howard Stern, he himself said he didn't want to date anybody below the age of 12. And so the American public knew this when he ran. And this goes back to a brokenness that we're going to have beyond Donald Trump. And it is a brokenness within our culture. When somebody shows us how morally depraved they are, when they brag about seeing naked, underage pageant girls because they own the pageant, and you have a daughter or you have somebody you love that you don't want exploited and you vote for them anyway, this is what you get. This party covers up for pedophiles. MAGA is the party of pedophile cover-up, and they prove it. They can say they're not, but their actions speak louder than their words.
And we need to expose their hypocrisy, because while he was engaged in that moral and spiritual rot and engaged in the total degradation of women, he was out there, as was J.D. Vance, campaigning, saying, well, he's going to expose the corruption. He's going to expose the abuse. He's going to release these files. And MAGA believed it. I mean, if you talk to actually Republican members of Congress and MAGA Republicans, they will tell you this is one of the top issues for a lot of MAGA voters. This is one of the reasons they voted for Donald Trump, because they thought there are two Americas. Rich and powerful people have impunity. They don't get justice. That Donald Trump's going to look after our families. He's going to protect our children. He's going to protect family values. That government has been corrupted. It's got all these elite bureaucrats. It's run by these Democrats who have these big donors. This was his whole spiel to the American public. And he's gotten in there and he said, okay, let's just move on because some of my buddies are in the file or things in the file that I don't want to expose. And he thought, like every other broken promise, he was going to get away with it. just like his broken promise on cutting Medicaid. You know, he said he'd never do it. He cuts Medicaid, just like his broken promise about ending the war in Ukraine, just like his broken promise that he was going to bring peace in the Middle East, just like his broken promise that he was going to bring prices down. His base is forgiven all of it.
Yeah.
And so it was a reasonable assumption for him to say, let's just move on. And guess what? This time they're not. This time they're not. And that is why he is scrambling. That's why he's calling it a hoax. That's why he's lashing out. That's why the Speaker of the House shut down the House. That's why they're introducing these placebo resolutions that have no teeth. I mean, they're really concerned because they, for the first time, losing the confidence and trust of some of their base.
Which is amazing it took this long, but that's here nor there. Here's one of my biggest gripes that really I cannot wrap my head around, and that is Moses Mike Johnson.
Oh, God.
He sits there and he goes on and on about what a good Christian he is. Gavin Newsom attacks prayer, and that man shuts down Congress to cover for pedophiles. He sits there and listens to these women, what they had to testify to in the closed-door meeting with Congress, comes out and says these women have had justice delayed. They have been punished. They should never have had to wait so long. Then he goes and he does it again and again. And the hypocrisy of him standing on his Bible, talking about what a great Christian he is, while he continues to victimize women for this man and everybody else, gay people, the whole nine. But specifically lately, it's been child predators. I don't know how you can go into your office and be like, hey, what's up, Mr. Speaker? Because it's so appalling.
It's appalling, and it's a betrayal of all our values. I mean, one of the things the Speaker should be asked is, do you agree with Donald Trump that this is a hoax? Because he got to hear the victims themselves. And I don't care what your politics are. These women were breaking down in tears, talking about what it was like to relive being raped at the age of 13 or 14 and being bullied into getting other friends of theirs to come to have that faith. I mean, they were totally exploited because they were lower working class or because they were the daughters of immigrants. And, you know, what was horrific to me is one of the survivors said, well, Epstein would brag about knowing former presidents. He'd brag about knowing powerful people. They went to the police and the police didn't do anything. And they said, well, we can't do anything because of Jeffrey Epstein. So it's not just rich and powerful men who assaulted them. It's rich and powerful men who covered this whole thing up. And Speaker Johnson could make this whole thing. He doesn't need us to do the discharge petition. He gets the 218 signatures. He could put this thing up for a vote tomorrow. He could in Article 1 say, Article 1 of the Constitution say, Mr. President, stop insulting, dehumanizing people, women. Stop calling it a hoax, just like Thomas Massey did. By the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene, these people have pled with the president saying, just recognize their humanity, just meet with them. And they're not breaking through. But what's the point of being in Congress? What's the point of being Speaker of the House if you're simply just going to take your marching orders from Donald Trump?
You know, a lot of these supporters of Trump, because he's so wildly insecure, their number one job is to coddle him. The manosphere and the MAGA movement and a lot of these MAGA men are engaged in this high-level coddling. And the highest level that I see right now is the Speaker of the House who has abdicated his co-equal branch of power. He has abandoned his faith. And in fact, he weaponizes his faith against the good people in Louisiana and all these Bible Belt states that we live in currently right now, who Speaker Johnson and other Republican politicians do something that I call Christian signaling. They say, well, you know, the good Lord says this. Meanwhile, they're doing exactly what the good Lord wouldn't want them to do, which is taking health care away from people. And the MAGA politicians that weaponize the faith and manipulate it against the people who the only culture they have in their towns is that church. Their whole friend group is that church, is the most despicable aspect of the MAGA movement. And there's not a bigger Christian hypocrite on the planet than Mike Johnson, who acts with impunity all of the time to a man who is the exact opposite. And I'm not a Christian. I'm not even religious. I'm an atheist. But I'm a 10 times better Christian than Moses Mike Johnson is because I care about people losing their health care. I care about people having benefits. I think it's wrong, absolutely wrong, morally wrong, that Walmart workers in rural Oklahoma make minimum wage, and then they have to go get government benefits because you can't live off minimum wage. And then the Moses Mike Johnsons of the world belittle them and say, you're lazy, you're so poor. Meanwhile, who's getting the corporate welfare there? It's Walmart, the billionaires, who every single heir is a billionaire in the top like 20 of the richest people in the world individually. When you split them up, if you put them all together, I think they're richer than anyone. And we are subsidizing these billionaires to treat their employees like shit. And then there's this Christian party, this Christian movement that then belittles poor people. It makes me fucking crazy. I don't know how you just don't whack him over the head when you see him.
Well, because I believe in the Christian.
I know, that's why you're in charge. Right, the cooler heads prevail.
The Democratic Party actually practices not responding in kind necessarily, which is the Christian teaching. I mean, I'm a Hindu faith, and Gandhi read the Sermon on the Mount, which was to say, actually care about poor people, have kindness, don't insult people, stand up for people, stand up for basic values. But you have a Republican Party that basically is giving tax breaks to billionaires in my district. Look, my district has 5 companies over $1 trillion: Apple, Google, NVIDIA, Tesla, and Broadcom. There's one company that is even close east of the Mississippi River, that's JP Morgan, that's $800 billion. And if you really believe that these Silicon Valley tech billionaires need more tax breaks, and that to pay for their tax breaks, we should take away health care from working class Americans and middle class Americans, then that's basically the Mike Johnson vision. That is the Republican vision. I mean, all the other stuff is there, but ultimately what they've done is taken away money, taken away things from working and middle class folks, and given them to the billionaires in places like my district. And the guy who represents more billionaires than anyone in the world is saying tax the billionaires more. Like, I don't understand how this is a hard vote for.
And let me jump in here real quick. You don't take any AIPAC money either, do you?
I don't, but AIPAC does not like me. They've been tweeting at me these days. I've taken 2 positions that are radical in terms of, quote unquote, Democratic people with a national platform taking, but are totally consistent with what the American people, in my view, want. And they don't like me because I've taken those 2 positions. One of them is that we should stop all military sales that are being used to kill civilians in Gaza. And they think that's heresy, that I've supported Delia Ramirez's bill to do that and supported Bernie Sanders to do that. And the other, I'm leading the effort. This is what really gets them upset. I'm leading the effort for the United States to recognize a Palestinian state. A Palestinian state, by the way, that would have elections, that would not have Hamas, that would not be armed, and that would recognize the state of Israel. It's a 2-state solution that 147 other countries in the world have supported, and that France, Great Britain, Canada, and Australia are going to support, but they think that crosses a red line. And I have used...
Let me ask you this. When you say AIPAC is not happy with you and they've been going after you, what does that look like?
Well, they've certainly tweet at me almost every other day. If you just go on my Twitter saying Khanna is a Hamas apologist, they try to think because I'm a person of color and because I'm a Hindu faith, maybe they can make me sound un-American and threatening. They've said I'm never going to get beyond Congress. I mean, they know that I'm very secure in my district, but they basically say, if you want to run for anything bigger, if you want to be in leadership, this is going to kill your career. Why are you doing this? You have such a good economic vision.
So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. AIPAC is bullying you and calling you a terrorist because you won't take their money and you have moral clarity on this genocide that is occurring, that American taxpayers without health care or funding. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, bullying would imply that they're succeeding or having any impact. It's more like they're being like little chipping at my ankles or something, because I think they're totally are a extreme fringe group. But the bullying unfortunately works with a lot of other members.
Let me ask you this. Let's just get to the nut cutting here, because I think the Democrats have a big problem. We had Zoran Mamdani on our podcast.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, we love him. And I am very disappointed, as are a lot of other people, that he won a Democratic primary. And he didn't just win. I mean, he cleaned their clocks. Okay, so it should be over. And now he's having to battle Democrats, and then people within the party are not endorsing him. And the one thing those people that aren't endorsing him have in common are AIPAC donations. And I see this like this, Congressman. AIPAC funded MAGA, I mean, a lot to get Trump 2.0. And if we have politicians that are tethered to the same people that are calling you a terrorist, which is just so ridiculous. I think it works with the MAGA base, but what they don't realize, the Democratic base is a little smarter, thinks things through a little more, so it doesn't work as well with this base. I'm very concerned about this minority leader not unshackling himself from AIPAC money, especially considering when you look at polling of the Democratic Party, it's abysmally low. And it should be really high right now because we're the opposition party. It's a layup to draw a comparison, a split screen between Kanks and all the crap he's doing. And it just should be a layup. And I just feel like we are really screwing up. I feel like he has a moment. We have the leaders we have, but I feel like it's our job to push him over, just like MAGA. Trump pushed all the crazies over there. And I'm just really, really worried for our party that this AIPAC donations have shackled some of our strongest speakers, and they don't have moral clarity and thus are not credible messengers to the base.
You're absolutely right. I mean, everyone should endorse and get behind Mamdani. This idea, oh, I'm not in his state, it's become a test. I mean, he mobilized 50,000 students. Have you done that? He's talking about the economy. Have you done that? And so instead of trying to learn from him, I'm not saying you can't disagree with him, but he just won the Democratic primary. He's going to be the mayor. He's done something no other person since Barack Obama has done in our party, maybe Bernie Sanders, but he's mobilized an entire young group of people. He's created energy. He has a hopeful vision. And instead of saying, hey, let's talk, let's see what you did, let's incorporate this, we're like, no, we're not going to endorse him. We're going to keep hands off. Look, there are three basic buckets right now in the Democratic Party. There are people like me and Bernie Sanders and Zoran and a few others who are saying, stop the arms sales that are killing civilians, and recognize a Palestinian state. This is a moral issue. Then there are the people who are basically doing the AIPAC line. We can never disagree with Israel publicly. They're an ally, and we should never have a disagreement. But then there's the vast middle, and this is a cynical middle because Dr. King said, be most concerned with people who don't take a stand. And what they hope, and I'm not going to name names because that's not my interest, but you can hold them accountable when they come on your programs. What they hope is that they can be so anti-Trump in different ways, that they can stop Trump from militarizing our streets. They can stop Trump from deporting immigrants without due process. They can stop Trump from going after mRNA, that they can legitimately stop Trump on different things and get the support, and they never need to utter a word about Palestine. Because why should they utter a word about this when it's going to make them unnecessary enemies? So let's just be quiet. Well, let me tell you something. I was just with Bernie Sanders in Concord. We did a rally up there, and there was a group of Democratic voters afterwards, people over 50, white women and men, not young people, not people of color, not people of different faiths. And I was talking all about economics. And then the questions came, and most of them were about Gaza. And most of them were about what we're doing about Gaza. And the reason they wanted to know is because they feel that we have lost our place as moral leaders. We've lost it in the United States, and we've lost it around the world. It's not foreign policy, it's who we are as a people. And they want people to have conviction to speak out about who we should be. So I think there is a huge disconnect between our party and the base, and it's only growing on this issue.
Pumps, I never want to disappoint my dogs. And I know when I do, because I just recently got back in town. I was out of this special treat that I got at like the grocery store randomly. And I thought to myself, you need to add this to your Chewy subscription because they love this treat so much. I forgot to do it. I got home. They wanted this specific treat, and they were so disappointed in me that I didn't have it.
on subscription, on auto ship by Chewy because Chewy makes me a better pet owner.
Well, I hate to one up you, but I left town and was low on treats. I needed new toys for my dogs. I came back because Chewy is so easy and brought it right to my door. All I had to do was open the box. My dogs were delighted to see me. I also like that Chewy offers prescriptions and telehealth pet visits.
And their auto ship lets you schedule recurring deliveries of the essentials you use most so you never run out. It's flexible, easy to manage, and can be changed or canceled at any time. Listener, Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com/I've had it podcast. That's chewy.com/I've had it podcast to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. Chewy.com/IVEHADITPODCAST. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. Some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. Could it be because it has a sleek, spam-free site or the most in-depth school info? Homes.com knows every parent wants the best for their kids, so they're the only ones with school and district details and reviews from multiple sources, including niche. It may be Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory, or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com has 22 data visualization layers, 7 environmental layers, and allows you to search by commute and architectural factors. It's the home search you've been searching for. Go to Homes.com today for home shopping the way it should be. Homes.com, we've done your homework.
We sit around, obviously, and talk about politics a lot, but you look at establishment Democrats and the centrists, where they want to have the party. We look at that and say, okay, well, you've lost the last 2 presidential elections over that. So we need new messaging. We need young people. We need to regenerate people to believe in the party. And then they go against their base like 90-8 on the Gaza and Israel thing. So I'm like, is Democratic establishment going to be able to come together and mobilize how their party wants? Are they going to stay in the same spot?
Some of them are going to stay in the same spot, and some of them are going to have to be run against. Look, Bill Clinton, when he won in 92, it was a different time. He didn't win by running with the party. He ran against the party. It was a different point. Obama ran against the party. Obama was never supported for anything he ran for. For Congress, he ran against the party. For the Senate, he ran against the party. For the presidency, he ran against the party. And I just think we need people of the House and the Senate and others saying we need a new vision for this country, a vision that actually understands how difficult it is for someone young today. Look, so I've had this debate with someone whether it would be better to be born in 1975 in America or today. And the person said, we've made a lot of progress. We made progress on race. We made progress on women's rights. We have a better life expectancy. We have better medicines. But the reality is for many people, young people, they can't buy a house. They can't afford childcare. They have much higher healthcare premiums. Don't have a sense that they're going to have a good paying job. And we're not speaking to those basic things. And they want to have a moral conception of America's role in the world. And so the Democrats need a totally more connected, grassroots, fresh vision, willingness to say that the old guard needs to step aside. And the good news is we have a bunch of these new leaders coming up across the country.
So I want to talk to you about something that I've noticed, and I want to get your take on this. So you mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene having clarity and support for the Epstein victims, and I commend her for that. I also think what we have with Marjorie Taylor Greene is she is a lot more politically savvy than I originally thought. And she is seeing beyond MAGA. And she hangs out with Bannon, who's a pretty astute political strategist, a nut, but he is a competent political strategist. And I believe that they are seeing beyond Donald Trump and what's going to happen to the cult after the cult leader dies, and it's going to be in disarray. So if I am a rural Oklahoman, a rural person in California, because you have a lot of rural spots there and a lot of MAGA there, and I dabble in the news, I don't monitor the 24-hour news cycle like the three of us psychos here do, and I see Marjorie Taylor Greene say, it is not America first. These politicians are Israel first. They have health care in Israel and we don't. And you see that living there on the internet and you're processing it, it hits hard. And I think the Democratic Party is starting to get outflanked by some people on the right who are doing this for grifting reasons. I mean, I want to be crystal clear with our audience. Marjorie Taylor Greene is an anti-Semite. Her dislike of Israel, she's been on the record for a very, very long time saying anti-Semitic things, the Jewish space lasers, etc. She cherry picks when she wants to care about Palestinian kids, but she doesn't give a shit about gay kids in rural America. So you always have to be cautious of the people who cherry pick which groups they support. My larger point, Congressman, is I see her as someone we need to keep an eye on because she is looking beyond Trump. She's starting to strategize beyond them. And then I look at the leaders in our party, present company excluded, of course, and they are not making this moral, clear case. And that kind of shit will hit hard, that these politicians are putting Israel first. They're not putting America first. To rural suburban voters, that simple messaging will hit hard and drive them to the voting booth.
You're absolutely right. What we need in this party, it's not progressive, liberal, moderate. It's just conviction-driven politics. We've lost the sense of conviction. And, people will disagree on some of the things I stand for. They may disagree on not selling military weapons to Israel that are being used to kill civilians. They may disagree on Medicare for all. They may disagree on child care, $10 a day. They may disagree that we should have a wealth tax on billionaires. But the one thing they won't say is, I don't know what he stands for. Let's just put out what you want to do and let the chips fall where they may. And who cares? You don't win an election. Like, there are a lot of other things you can do. I got to tell you, I was at the press conference with Marjorie Taylor Greene today. My staff is having a little bit of a anxiety attack because the roll call had a moment of us giving each other a hug after one of the powerful testimony of the women, and it was an emotional moment for everyone there. But the point is that she was, if you listen to what she said there are forgotten Americans. That was FDR. FDR had that phrase, forgotten Americans. And there's an America that works for the rich and powerful. And the problem in this country is that the America that works for the rich and powerful is not working for those of us who are forgotten. And I'm here because I want to stand up for justice for forgotten Americans. I want investment for forgotten Americans. I got to tell you, if we do not understand that frame and then have our affirmative vision in that, if we allow that to be filled with darkness of anti-immigrant or anti-trans or anti-gay or anti-other countries, then we're going to lose elections. And I think that it's important for us to recognize that the other side has tapped into a fundamental anxiety, anger with people. And there's certainly an anger. And I've always supported Israel as a Jewish democratic homeland. I don't have Marjorie Taylor Greene's view. My nieces are Jewish. We had a Hindu-Jewish wedding. My brother is Hindu and married someone Jewish. That's not the point. The point is people are sick of all of the money going for foreign wars, from Iraq to Afghanistan to wars in the Middle East. They want that money for a Marshall Plan in America. They don't understand. They feel they built this country, and now their kids don't have the same shot at the American dream. 70% don't believe in the American dream. And it's kind of like we do the same thing. I was, just because I'm candid with you, I was having a conversation with someone in our caucus, and they're like, let's do 100 town halls around America on Social Security and saving Social Security. I was like, I'm all for saving Social Security, but you got to be kidding me if you think that the Democrats that talk about roads, bridges, and Social Security for the last 50 years, if that's going to break through to the American people. It's on like a yawn. It's like we're on autopilot.
Snooze fest. It is a total snooze fest. Here's what I feel where the Democratic Party is right now. Like when it was Obama, it was like, oh, we're moving forward. It's progress. Let's go. Hope and change. Yes, we can. I feel like the Democratic establishment right now, it's like when you're on the New York subway and it stops and it goes, that squeak. And I feel like they're all just stuck in that. And now the Democratic establishment is the conservative party. They're wanting to conserve and preserve the same party that advised Kamala Harris to not be left and go trot around with Liz Cheney. And I just think like, okay, you guys lost 2 elections to an idiot, to a total fucking moron. Like, we're not going to listen to you all anymore. Like, you lost to Donald Trump. He can't blend his makeup. He talks about Hannibal Lecter. He tried to give a microphone a blowjob. This is a layup, for God's sakes. And so when I hear that these Democrats, we're going to spend $20 million to learn how to talk to men. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Come to a flyover state, hang out with us for a week, and we'll let you know exactly what you need to do to go talk to people. Because if you don't do it, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to do it. And she doesn't have the purest intentions in that. She hangs out with Steve Bannon all the time, who the economic populist message that you said that she said, the FDR style stuff, that's what Bannon's talking about. And these people are seeing beyond the cult. There's like Laura Loomer, who's like, all she can see is Trump. That's it. Marjorie Taylor Greene and others are looking beyond. And then there's other people like, I don't know if this guy lives. Oh, we have to ask you about this. What's his name? Peter Thiel. Does he live in your district?
He does not. He lives in the Bay Area. I've met him once.
You have?
I met him in 2013 or 2012, 2013. We had a professor in common. But yeah, I mean, he's, I gave a speech out at the Cleveland Club. I mean, he's got a very, very radical vision, much more than Donald Trump, because he's smart in terms of what he wants to do. And his vision is scary. It's basically that people who are born with what he calls elite genius or elite IQ, that they actually are better at governing than the rest of us. And that we should just allow these kind of billionaires, tech folks to govern, to rule, because democracy is too messy and we don't trust the instincts of ordinary folks, and that's not what's going to make civilizational advance. So he's got it's like a defense of elitism. Now, of course, he couldn't win an election, but what they've been smart enough to do is to have the MAGA populism of a Marjorie Taylor Greene or a Donald Trump when he's campaigning, but then to govern with the Peter Thiels basically giving business what they want. And businesses, unfortunately, some of them, there's this convening in the Rose Garden with all these tech leaders. And they're just like, oh, we'll just keep our heads under the table and let our businesses thrive and deregulation. And, the pendulum always swings back and the Democrats will be in charge and maybe Gretchen Whitmer will be president in 2029 and then we'll be behind her too. And I'm like, yeah, the pendulum swings back, but it doesn't swing back automatically. And if all of these people have that view, then it's not going to swing back. But it's very cleverly ingenious what Trump's done. They've got populist rhetoric combined with deregulation for business. And so they basically are giving populism in language, but they're actually helping the economic royalists in practice. And that's how they have their coalition.
Which is also called lying. Right.
Yeah.
Just to put it simply, I mean, he's lying to these people who are, their taxes are going to actually go up under the BBB. And oh my God, it's just, I'm very worried about the elections, the midterms. And I believe that Trump is showing the signs, or the people that are pulling the levers. I don't know if it's Stephen Miller. Sometimes I don't think Trump's all there. I mean, I really think he's showing significant signs of cognitive decline and dementia. But whoever is pulling the levers, that they are going after elections. They're starting to put the military in blue cities. They're priming the public the way authoritarians do. If you study this, authoritarians get the public primed to this. They get the military primed to this. He militarized DC, which is where a peaceful transfer of power would have to take place. I, for one, am very, very, very concerned, and I don't think it's hyperbolic to assume that he doesn't want the midterms to take place. My evidence in this would be January 6th,
Right.
because he doesn't like to lose at anything. What do you think? Are you worried about this?
Of course, I'm worried. I'm worried about the militarization of the streets. I'm pleased that Governor Pritzker, Governor Newsom are standing up to him. Governor Moore is standing up to him. And we need the Democrats and citizens to say, like, we didn't fight a revolution to have the military on our streets. This is not a difficult proposition. We need our lawyers on our side to be there defending elections. We need to pass this ballot initiative in my state on redistricting. I mean, the reality is he's trying to redistrict out seats in the Black South and in Texas because he knows he would lose a fair election. And so we can have a vision going forward that people like Zoran are having, which is the energy and a positive vision and what we're going to do. But we also, at the same time, have to use every procedural and legal tool in our toolbox to understand the threat we face and make sure that we don't cede an inch to this person who wants to undermine every institution. Look, Donald Trump will take as much power as we let him. Like this, and I think we will prevent him from doing that, but not because I think we're going to appeal to his sort of better angels, or there are going to be any people in the White House who are going to check. He's going to keep grabbing. That's his philosophy of life. He thinks if you don't take as much power as you can, you're a sucker. That's his philosophy, maximize power. And we have to be willing to check and fight him at every step of the way. And secondly, we have to offer our affirmative vision to connect with young people and others that we have a moral vision for this country.
Okay, well, now we're going to play our game. It's called HADIT or Hit It. Oh, my God. Welcome to HADIT or Hit It. I would hit it. HADIT. I hit it every day, sometimes twice a day. Okay, Congressman, HADIT or Hit It, J.D. Vance?
HADIT. That's a no-brainer.
He's absolutely the worst.
I had forgotten about him for a while, yeah.
Yeah, he's the worst. We call him Lil Smokey because of the eyeliner. Like, we just think he's a news cycle away from popping a smoky eye. But we like to. We have a lot more liberty to really browbeat these people on our podcast than you do as a dignified congressman. So we'll take that lead. Okay, Had It or Hit It. Twitter, formerly known as X.
Had it. I'm on it, but they still have manipulating these algorithms. I mean, it's not what it used to be under Jack Dorsey.
Yes, and I've had it because it is not a safe space for women. It is.
I totally hear
it's
you.
terrifying. I mean, we talk a lot of smack on the podcast, Congressman, and then Fox News gets wind of it, and they'll browbeat us for a day straight, which is fine. We're big girls. That doesn't hurt our feelings. It's fair game. But then the darkest cultists on Twitter come and find you, and they send you messages of wishes for sexual violence to you and your family and your children, and you report it and nothing happens. And it's disgusting that a place that could be, an open digital town square is now not a safe place for women. And Elon Musk is just sitting there like retweeting Nazis and shit all the time, and all this horrific white supremacist shit that is awful. And I wish that we could get to an administration where I could have you on and we could have a serious conversation about making social media safer. And you would be such
a big thing.
You'd be such a credible messenger considering where you're located, your district is located. But we can't talk about that now because we have to talk about trying to save democracy, which is just overwhelming.
No, it's connected because social media has really led to some of the anger and falseness and vitriol that's hurting our democracy. One thing I noticed, and this is anecdotal, so I don't have data, but I said to my team, did we really, the Epstein news conference, did it really get out there and flood the zone? And they said, yes, it's been covered and extensively everywhere. And I said, the reason I was asking is I didn't see much on X about it. They said it's all over TikTok, it's all over Instagram, it's all over MSNBC, CNN networks. And it wasn't all over Fox News, and it wasn't all over X. So, the manipulation of who's getting to see what. By the way, if we had done that press conference under Biden, you don't think they would have had hundreds of millions of views under X? I mean, so it's a huge issue for us.
Yeah, it's a really, really big problem. Okay, last one, Had It or Hit It, the United States of America.
hit it. Look, you can't have a story like mine. My grandfather spent 4 years in jail alongside Gandhi fighting for independence. That leads to the Civil Rights Act, that leads to the 1965 Immigration Reform Act, so my parents could come to America. I'm born in Philadelphia in 1976, our bicentenary, Indian American of Hindu faith in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, 99% white. I have teachers who believe in me, Little League coaches who believe in me, even though I can't hit for anything. They say Khanna plays. I've got community who believes in me, and this country elects me at the age of 40 to represent arguably the most innovative economic district in the world. It's a great country. It's a resilient country. It's a kind country. It's a country that's hurting, that's exhausted, that's been subject to fear and demagoguery. But this is a resilient nation. And I love the country and I believe in the country. And I'm very confident we're going to come back.
I needed to hear that.
I needed to hear that. And I just want to give you an opportunity to speak to Americans about an article that I read in the Washington Post about the ICE recruitment. And there was a person that they were recruiting to be an ICE officer. And they asked him, what prompted you to want to get involved with ICE? And the direct quote, I'm slightly paraphrasing, is that he wanted to be able to go hunt Indians and bash their heads, their skulls into the ground, and then see them get deported. And as a man of color with immigrant backgrounds, and I believe with everything in me, the best part of being an American is multiculturalism, is the spice, the flavor, the culture. Can you speak to our listeners of color or from immigrant backgrounds about the fear that is intentionally and willfully being projected onto them, and how you can comfort them through this really, really scary time of being an American of color with this fascist regime in charge and escalating these ICE raids?
Well, first of all, I understand that fear not in an academic level, but at a personal level. When I go to this day and I go overseas and we're on a military plane or on a congressional codel, my mom will call me and say, please don't lose your passport. And I say, Mom, it'll be okay. I'm a member of Congress and they're going to let me back in. But my parents cling to their papers when they came here and they had a green card. And there was a sense all they wanted to do was to work hard, to have a better life for their kids, to live the American dream. And they loved this country because this country gave them so much. And I understand for many people who are immigrants today or the kids of immigrants that they're living in a different time of fear, very different from when I grew up. But I've got to tell you this. When I was growing up, there was no Indian American in the United States Congress. Today, there are 6 Indian Americans. When I was growing up, the thought that we would have an African American president was inconceivable. The thought that an Indian American, African American woman, Kamala Harris, would get 48% in Pennsylvania, I would have told you she wouldn't get 30%. This country is making progress in spite of itself. Come with pride. Talk about the love you have for this country, your family has, because immigrants tend to be patriotic. Reach out to people who don't have the kind of bigotry that story displayed. And I believe that we are going to do something together. We're going to become the first cohesive multiracial democracy in the world. That will be our generational achievement. And I fundamentally believe we'll get there. And we need all of you, not just to be there, but not to give up on the American story, on the American promise.
I love that so much. And I just know that we get a lot of messages and DMs from people who are just really terrified, which is the desired effect of a lot of what they're doing. But I'm so happy to have you on. And just a personal thank you for helping me not descend into complete nihilism. Because when I see somebody that actually has conviction and they don't change and they always fight for it, I'm like, okay, we're all here. We're going to do this thing. And it just means so, so much. So thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for not taking Aipac money and having clarity for the Democrats. And we're going to keep pushing them here at I've Had It podcast.
Well, thank you. I love when you make news because I know you're pushing us in a good way. And I've been seeing your viral clips all over since my last time. So I know it's not easy. I know you get a lot of abuse. but know that people are listening to you and that you're making a big impact. So keep fighting and keep pushing us. I'm grateful to you, genuinely.
Thank you so much. Thanks for always being on. You always have a spot here if you want to come on. We've got IHIP News, and we really appreciate your willingness to share your time.
Thanks so much.
I just like him a lot.
Here's the thing.
I feel like a better person.
I feel uplifted a little bit
I do
because
too.
of him. And I shouldn't, because it's a swamp out there.
We should. That's
should.
the
We
purpose
should.
of a politician.
That's right. But, I'm sitting there thinking he's talking about his story, how he came to America, all of that. And then I think how the immigrants are demonized.
And his parents had all this patriotism.
Yeah. I mean, it's
and they just worked hard and want their kids to be safe, but they always had their papers. And the way these people are treated.
It's just awful.
I just he's a million times better person than Moses Mike Johnson.
It's not even comparable.
From top to bottom, he genuinely cares about every American, even those that hate him, even those Americans that would look at him and say, you're not a real American.
Right.
He's still going to vote for them to have health care. He's still going to fight for them to have health care, and he doesn't begrudge them. And so I don't know. I needed that.
I did too.
Thank you,
I really
Congressman Ro. Kylie, did you like the congressman?
I love him, and that it made me emotional. And when we have these people on, some of them really do leave me leaving here feeling better about things.
They do.
For a slight amount of time, at least.
And you know what? You can just tell the difference in the bullshit factor when we start talking about AIPAC. You don't have to go through the word salad. Like with him, it's wrong for us to sell weapons that kill civilians. We should not fund this. And that's the end of it. And if you talk to some of these other politicians, we have to go through this horrific circle jerk of bullshit, which we need to start shutting down.
Yeah, we do.
All right, Pumps, to promote our book.
The hottest read of the fall has turned into the it book of the summer.
No, take two.
Wait,
take two. Take two, Kai.
Wait, the hottest book of the summer has turned into the it book of fall.
Nailed it.
And this is like embarrassing. I'm so bad.
Here, give it to me. Take three. The hottest book of the summer is now the it book of the fall. Buy it wherever you get your books or audiobooks. And you also need to listen to our other podcast at IHIP News. That was okay-ish.
We'll see you next Tuesday or Thursday because we're falling apart over here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I've had it with. Let's hear it. I've had it with that.
Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called IHIP News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw!
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw!
That's it. That's
Caw-caw!
the patriotism that this country needs right there.